Hello, I'm Ricky Lee, and today on the watch list, I'm joined by George Bennett, CEO of Rainbow Rare Earths. The company has released an updated interim economic study showing a base case NPV10 of 611 million US dollars for its Phalaborwa rare earths project in South Africa, highlighting continued technical progress and downstream potential. George, welcome to the watch list.
Thanks very much for having me.
So good to have you here. So, George, a new study shows a base case NPV10 of $611 million. How do you see that evolving with the latest technical improvements at Phalaborwa?
Well, as you know, we've made some significant announcements within the last 6 weeks or so where we've been able to produce a very high quality mixed rare earth product, and this is very, very low in impurities. And that means that we have a far better product to feed into our downstream separation circuit. And we also are going to be announcing some optimization work we've been doing on the number that we released in December 2024. We expect the results of those optimization figures to greatly improve both the NPV as well as the OPEX for the project, which will improve the IRR. So we're very excited looking at the optimization work that we are doing that will be able to improve these metrics as you've just mentioned them. Yeah, I must just point out that this is not a mining project. It's really a chemical processing project. We're extracting rare earths out of waste phosphogypsum residue. It's a very high grade of rare earths in these gypsum stacks that we have at Phalaborwa, and that means we've got no mining costs. So we've got no drill, blast, crush, mill, produce a mixed rare earth concentrate, then crack it to feed into a downstream separation process. These stockpiles are already chemically cracked, and that means 60% of our flow sheet is already occurred at zero cost to our project, which is why we're such a low cost quartile and we're very low capital intensity.
Perfect. Okay. So then how do you plan to market your NdPr and SEG Plus products, given the growing demand from EVs, wind turbines, and defense, and now new frontiers like robotics and air mobility, where demand could soon outpace even EVs?
Well, I would agree with that statement. We are forecasting, not we, the industry is forecasting that air mobility and robotics in the next decade will definitely outpace demand for EVs and wind turbines. And that means there's going to be tremendous strain on the rare supply chain, looking for independent sources of these metals outside of China. And Rainbow's already been approached by a number of OEMs and potential offtake partners for NdPr and the SEG Plus, which has got dysprosium and terbium, two of the key heavy rare elements in it. And because we will be a significant producer of dysprosium and terbium within this SEG Plus group, we've had numerous approaches for offtake for the SEG Plus. So we don't see any sort of real issue with marketing these materials once we're in production, which we forecast for 2028, which is near term for these kind of projects, I should say.
Amazing. Okay. So then, are there any plans to replicate this rare earth recovery model beyond phosphogypsum, perhaps in other regions or industries?
Well, we've already got a MOU signed with Mosaic, the global fertilizer producer listed on the New York Stock Exchange, to extract the rare earths out of their phosphogypsum in Uberaba in Brazil. And we announced to the market that we had started this initial economic assessment. In other words, the initial feasibility study on this project. We know it's higher grade than Phalaborwa. It's a far larger and longer life project than Phalaborwa, and we'll be announcing the results of that initial feasibility study within the next sort of 8 or so weeks. So before the end of this year, we'll be announcing the results of that feasibility study. And once again, with our knowledge of Phalaborwa, which we're applying to the Uberaba project, we expect this to be a very positive outcome, and we think the market will really, really like the results on that study. So we've got 2 projects already, and we've in discussions with 2 other opportunities, one in Canada and one in Europe, to replicate this once again.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today, George Bennett, CEO of Rainbow Rare Earths. For more information on their company's Phalaborwa project and growth strategy, visit rainbowrareearths.com. That's all for this episode of The Watch List. I'm Ricky Lee. Make good choices today.